The Smith & Wesson Performance Center Shield 2.0. Let's check it out. Now, Smith & Wesson introduced the M&P Shield back in 2012. It was in 9 and 40 caliber. Guys, it was like super popular. And it really put Smith & Wesson at the forefront of the concealed carry market. There was a long wait. In fact, we waited for a long time to get the one for my wife. And she loves it. She carries the Smith & Wesson Shield. But Smith & Wesson since that time has introduced their 2.0. But today we're looking at their Performance Center 2.0 Shield. Smith & Wesson has sold over 1 million shields. And these again are very popular concealed carry options or even for home defense. Very thin handgun. You know, it's just reliable, and again, it's Smith quality. Let's go ahead and check to make sure the gun's unloaded. We're going to drop the magazine, check the chamber. Now, it does come with 2 magazines. You get a 7-round flush fit magazine, and then we get an 8-round that has a little bit of a base extension. And so it gives you just a full grip around the pistol. And then, of course, your magazine release is right here. It's really easy to deploy. We did a review on the first M&P Shield Performance Center, and it was, I guess, about 4 years ago. And it had the fiber optic sights. But this one has the night sights, and it does give you either one of those options, which makes it nice. Now, I really like these because you have a little shelf here for one-handed reloads. Of course, you can just replace these if you want, but just a really nice sight picture. With the fiber optic, or what they call high-vis sights, they really glow very well. One of the big things, though, that they've done with this pistol, with the Performance Center, is the ports. It's a ported barrel, and then we have 3 ports right here in the slide. We're going to shoot the original Shield and the Performance Center Shield with the ports side by side to see how much advantage you get with the ports. We're going to try some Hornady Critical Defense and see if we can get some plus P rounds, how much that affects it. The ports definitely make this a much flatter shooting handgun. It's not as much of a recoil difference because you still feel the recoil, but it keeps that muzzle down. It makes the sights really easy to stay on target. And because it stays on target, you're able to get your second and third follow-up shots really quickly. And so that to me is a huge advantage with the Performance Center Shield. I have not cleaned it since we've shot it. With the ports, it really puts a lot of residue and powder right here on the barrel, inside the frame, inside the slide. And so that's just one thing to take a note of. But one thing that, you know, a lot of people have said is with the ports, are you going to have problems if you're in a self-defense situation at night? And that's definitely something, you know, to consider. And so what we did, we took this pistol out at night and compared it to the regular Shield.
Now, because of the ports at an angle, I was getting more of a V. And so honestly, there was no difference in shooting this and the standard M&P Shield. I mean, the muzzle blast was pretty much the same. If anything, it may have diverted it to the side instead of just the front. And so I think that that's not really a consideration that you need to worry about. Another thing about Performance Center is they do incorporate a frame safety. And I don't believe there's an option to opt out of the frame safety. But on the standard shields, you can go without the frame safety. The texturing is just a lot more aggressive, and that's a 2.0, whether it's the M&P standard series or again the Shield. So you know, it gives you a lot more aggressive texturing, and I really like it. I mean, it gives you a very confident grip on the handgun. Now, there's no backstrap options. You just get what you get. But this is for concealed carry. You can see how thin it is. But another advantage with the Performance Center is that it's been action tuned. So everything's smoother. You're just going to get a much better fit overall with the handgun, and that's going to translate also into the trigger. Now, one of the things about the 2.0 trigger, it's a vast improvement over the original trigger. Now, if you'll notice, we do have a two-piece trigger, and you have your trigger safety. You'll see it disengaged right there. But we do have a trigger stop right here at the back of the frame. That's a little bit different than the original Shield, which had a small little stop down here. And so we're going to go ahead and I'm going to show you the trigger action. And the gun has been safety checked. We have some take up right about here, and then it hits a little bit of a wall, just some resistance. So we have free play, a little bit of resistance, and then a really nice break. And reset is right there. Quick reset. Here with the original Shield, it is unloaded. We have some take up right here. We have we have a lot of stacking, and then it breaks. It's not really crisp. You get a lot better indication that the trigger is going to break with the Performance Center. And of course, even with the new 2.0s, the triggers are better. Now here we have one of the original Shields, and we do have Talon grips on here. It gives it a lot more comfort. In fact, this is my wife's concealed carry option. They don't incorporate the front cocking serrations, even though they're pretty abbreviated. Now the rear cocking serrations are the same, but we have one of the Arachna grips right here. And my wife, she just likes that. It gives her a little bit more texturing to be able to pull that back. A little bit more friction, and that is an excellent little grip. Of course, you have your standard 3-dot sights, whereas with the Performance Center, you even get the night sights or the high-vis sights. The barrel profile is a little bit different, but other than that, guys, you know, there's a lot of similarities between these two handguns. The magazines interchange, and I'm sure most of the parts do. But to me, the 2.0 is a big improvement over the original, if only for the trigger. But the texturing right here really adds to it as well. Now, it does retain the 18-degree grip angle, which is more of a natural feel. It just seems to get right on target a little better. Of course, the polymer frame, it does have an embedded stainless steel chassis. And again, the slide is stainless steel, and the barrel. Now, the barrel is 3.1 inches in length. And the slide has what they call the Armor Night finish. And to me, honestly, it is an excellent finish, just like the other 2.0 9mm, the regular standard double stack mag versions. It's just got a very beautiful look to it. One thing they've also done is they've increased the engraving. It's a little bit deeper than the original. And you do get Performance Center right on the slide, and then the M 2.0 with the Performance Center logo. Of course, your slide stop right here. It does release, but you've really got to get a good grip on it. Then you have your takedown lever here. The magazine release is interchangeable, but it's not necessarily ambidextrous. Now we're going to check trigger pull with our Lyman trigger gauge from Brownells. 3 pounds, 11.8 ounces. 3 pounds, 14.5 ounces. 3 pounds, 14.3 ounces. Very consistent. Now, one thing that's included with the Performance Center Shield is this little case. And it's a rigid, soft case inside a really cool cleaning kit. And you have your rods, you have your jags, you have your brushes, you have a regular brush, you even have cleaning patches. I want to thank Fiocchi for sponsoring the ammo. All made here in the USA, good quality stuff.
Now at the range, with the new texturing, I really enjoyed shooting this handgun. You really have a lot of confidence when you're gripping the pistol. And then you add those ports. It definitely decreases the recoil. The Smith & Wesson slide serrations, the way they're scalloped, almost like waves, makes it very easy to grab, and yet they're not rough, there's nothing sticking out. It makes it really nice. The new cocking shelf they have on the rear of the Performance Center shield, of course, is great for one-handed reloads, which I really like with a concealed carry option. But probably one of the best features really of this handgun is the improved trigger of the 2.0. The original shield was really mushy. I mean, it had a lot of take-up, had a lot going on. But with the 2.0, they've really cleaned that trigger up, and it makes a nice, crisp break like we've shown. And that makes a difference at the range, guys. If you're waiting for the break, especially if you're trying to get shots on target, it can interfere with your accuracy. So having a really good trigger is important. And with the shield, they've done that. Sarah Mack really enjoyed shooting this handgun, but unfortunately her mother has dibs on this one. So maybe she'll pick up the original shield.
Now let's take a look at disassembly. We're going to drop our magazine, check to make sure the chamber is empty. First thing we do is bring back your slide. Now you don't have to pull the trigger to remove your slide, which is a great feature. Now you'll notice there's a little lever right here, and this disconnects the sear. We're just going to bring it to the down position. It is a greenish yellow color. Then take your takedown lever and put it in the 6 o'clock position, release your slide stop, and it comes right off. Now for speed, you can actually pull the trigger if you want to, but that gives you another option. Recoil spring and guide rod, it is captive, and it's dual. And then we have our barrel. Now again, I wanted to leave this as it was just to show you that if you're going to own one of these ported barrels, you really need to clean this really after every range trip, especially if you're depending on this for self-defense. You'll notice in here it does build up a lot of powder residue, even here in the frame. But I'm going to take a little bit of Hoppy's number 9 just to take that off to let you see that it does come off really easily. Again, it is a 3.1 inch barrel, and honestly guys, it does change the way that this handgun shoots. And so now, you know, we're getting back to normal. We do have a firing pin safety right here. You have your striker, which is typical for striker fire pistols. And then we have that stainless steel chassis that fits in here. And one thing I will say about the ports, you know, you need to be careful to make sure that you clean this on occasion, because lint and things like that can get down into the ports. So now we're ready to reassemble. Just drop in your barrel, recoil spring and guide rod. We're going to bring the slide back over the frame and engage our slide stop. Now one thing you will notice when you engage your slide stop is that it doesn't match with this little notch, so you need to bring it all the way back. And then we're going to hit our takedown lever and drop the slide. And guys, one thing to note is that when you enter a magazine, you're going to replace that lever into the correct position, so you don't have to worry about forgetting it. We're going to drop the slide, check for function, and we're good to go. It's 6.1 inches in length, it's 4.5 inches in height, and it's 1.1 inches in width, and that's mainly because of your slide release.
And weight on the Performance Center Shield 2.0. 1 pound, 4.2 ounces. Honestly, guys, I think that the Shield continues to be one of the best concealed carry options on the market. I mean, it's Smith & Wesson. It's just got a really solid grip to it. The new texturing helps give you a lot more confidence, and the ports definitely aid in recoil management, keeping that muzzle down, especially for, you know, weak-handed or female shooters. This would be a great option to me. Do I recommend you trading in your original Shield for the Performance Center or the 2.0? Not necessarily, but with the improved trigger, with the ports for the Performance Center model, you know, and the increased texturing, it'll definitely be something to consider. But after shooting this handgun, personally, I would definitely take the 2.0 and even more so the Performance Center Shield. I think this is really an excellent shooting handgun. Guys, if you're carrying a concealed firearm or you depend on a firearm for self-defense, having some kind of legal protection is just smart. And I've been a member of the USCCA, or United States Concealed Carry Association. Their magazine is just outstanding, and a lot of tips, a lot of training, a lot of product reviews and gear reviews. And it's something that I really enjoy reading. It really kind of fine-tunes my skills as a concealed carry holder. And guys, I'll tell you, we need an association to back us up, but we also need one to be able to stand up to legislation that's coming down, keeping you up on the local laws and national laws that are coming down the pipe. Because guys, they seem to change every day. So check out United States Concealed Carry Association. I'll have a link down below in the description. Guys, again, if you're depending on a firearm for self-defense, you need some kind of legal protection. And I definitely want to thank Smith & Wesson for sending the shield for this test and evaluation. It just gives me a lot more shields to protect my family, or better yet, for them to protect themselves. Be strong, be of good courage. God bless America. Long live the Republic. To this that make this excellent.
Testament to the popularity, the testament of the popularity, no crap.
Okay. It's good.
Gangster.
Ah!
That scream. No.
Yeah, you see why I'm screaming. That's $500.